मंत्री वंदना के लिए आगे आए। नमामि धन्वन्तरि आदिदेवम् सुरासुरैर्वन्दितपादपद्मम् लोके जरारुग्भयमृत्युनाशम् दातारमीशं विविधौषधीनां धन्वन्तरीरमानाथम् सर्वरोगनिवारकम् आयुर्वेदप्रवक्तारम् वन्दे पीयूषदायकम्। सर्वे जना सुखिनो भवन्तु, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाम्, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। आप सभी का पुनः स्वागत और अभिनंदन। आज की व्याख्यान माला का प्रारंभ आज के मुख्य वक्ता डॉक्टर रविंदर चेलुवेरू के परिचय से करेंगे। डॉक्टर रविंदर चेलुवेरू was born and brought up in an Ayurveda family in the Warangal district of Andhra Pradesh. Sir is all-time state topper right from BMS till higher studies, and he was a principal of BRKR Government Ayurvedic College, Hyderabad. Sir is National Treasurer of Kashyapi Ayurved Gynecologist and OBS Foundation, and he is well known for his innovative health programs highlighting PTSR. The programs are Suprajata, World Breastfeeding Week, Yoshita Kagov National CME. These are some of the programs he is very actively conducting, and he is a periodical speaker in All India Radio and writer and speaker for few Telugu print media as well as TV channels. He writes and publishes booklets on the subject and distributes free of cost to the public. Sir is known for his provocation through new dimensional thoughts in the concepts and practice of PTSR. He is a founder member of Kashyapi Ayurved Gynecologist and OBS Foundation, and is also the core member of ANC through Ayurveda project of Ministry of Ayush, presented by Aya. So today he'll be speaking on the topic uterine prolapse and Ayurvedic management. So we are very keen to listen from him. I'll request Dr. Ravinder Chelluvuru to start his lecture. Dr. Ravinder, sir.
Yeah, namaste to all. I am very glad to be with you all, and particularly Vishwa Ayurveda Parishad, which includes. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Audible, sir.
Because I'm
audible, sir.
Yeah, I'm trying to share the. Can you view the screen? Are you able to see the screen?
Not yet, sir.
Because जी
नहीं सर, अभी नहीं है, अभी स्क्रीन प्रेजेंट नहीं हो रहा आपका.
hello.
हाँ, we are not able to see, sir. Screen is not presenting. Shall I try from my side, sir?
You can.
Okay, okay, sir.
No, I am clicking the share. It is not coming.
Okay, let me try, sir. 1 minute.
Okay.
Sir, is it visible? Hello.
The complete screen has not come.
No, PPT is coming on screen, sir.
No.
Okay, okay, wait, sir. Please wait. Now, sir.
No. Yeah. But it is behind.
So screen is available. Can you see my screen,
Yeah,
sir?
it is. Yeah, it is.
Okay.
I am
Okay,
able to.
okay, sir.
But it's not coming full screen.
Okay, no problem, sir. You can. I'll try. You can start your lecture. I'll try in between to make it properly.
Yeah. Okay. I congratulate the Vishwa Ayurveda Parishad and the team at Jaipur for conducting this unforgettable as well as continuous stream of the lecture series in all the subjects of Ayurveda. And as a part of it, I am here with you all in the specialty of Prasuti Stri Roga. And from that, again, a special focus on uterine prolapse and Ayurvedic management. I'm unable to go for next slide, please. Yeah. The control also in your hand only.
Yes, sir. You just let me know. I'll run the slides.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Main contents will be like this: introduction of uterine prolapse and the related anatomy, what's said in Ayurveda, and later the diagnostic part of the topic, which is called as Rigvinishayam, and of course followed by the Ayurvedic management. Next, please. Next, please. So, as a part of introduction, uterine prolapse is a type of downward genital displacement, thus having anatomical consideration at large, and also it is the most common gynecological health problem, particularly during the post-menopausal life of a woman. Next, please. And this statement denotes that there are genital displacements other than the uterine prolapse. There are genital displacements other than downward direction, and there are genital displacement other than post-menopausal life. Next, please. The genital displacements were described in Ayurveda treatises by the name of Dustita Yoni while describing treatments for Vimshati Yoni Vyapats, though not used same terminology during their etiological descriptions. Next, please. The various clinical conditions with similar context of Distisa yoni in various treatises are as follows. Mahayoni or Asamvrita Mukhe as described in Charaka and Vagbhata. Srasta, Prasrasta or Nisrita as described in same Charaka while describing the treatment aspects. Prasramsini in Sushrita Samhita. Falini again in Sushrita Samhita. Andali as described in Bhava Prakasha. Udavartini as described in Charaka as well as Vagbhata. And Antarmukhi both in Charaka and Vagbhata. So these are the different contexts wherein the Disita Yoni has been described in classics. And any disease in Ayurveda on its degree of Vyadhi Bala or prognosis shall be evaluated into 3 grades, usually Avara, Madhyama and Pravara, what we call minor, moderate and major. Here it is applicable even to the prognosis of Dusthita Yoni, and the management suggested was under both Athreya and Dhanvantari school of thought. Next, please. So let us go for a small introduction related to Yoni Rachana, because there is a close relation in between the Dusthita Yoni as well as the Yoni Rachana, because as I said earlier, the Dusthita Yoni is grossly related with the structural anatomical aspect. Therefore, it is better learn something about Yoni Rachana as described in Ayurveda, so that we can understand the applicability of the anatomy in Prasuti Sri Roga subject. Next, please. So after seeing these pictures, we can recollect 2 basic stanzas reflecting the anatomy of the genitalia. The first 3 pictures shows the Shankanabhya Krutiryoni Travarta Sa Prakirtita, that one. So Travarta Yoni in gist, whereas the second part gives the internal aspect of the genitals. Yada rohita machesya mukham bhavati rupataha tat samsthanam tadrupam. So like that, these 2 stanzas represent the anatomy as described in Ayurveda. Next, please. Next, please. So these are the references related to the anatomy. And here, at an outset, the total genital anatomy is described with one single word is Travarta Yoni. Trayo Avarta Yoni, we can understand. So which reflects the total female genital anatomy as in Ayurveda. You see here, Apatyapada is there, here Bhaga part is there, here the cavity of the uterus, and then here the Bijashayas or ovaries, and behind the screen you can imagine the Bijavahinis. So all this description is based upon the Peshi Shariram described in Sushrita Samhita. So where the total triangular cavity of the uterus is reflected, and there will be a connectivity in between the Bijashaya and Garbhashaya with Bija Vahini or Artavaha Srotas. And similarly, this uterine cavity is opening into the Antar Apatyapada, and Apatyapada thus described into Bahya and Abhyantara. So in the Abhyantara Pada, the uterine cavity is opening. So thus there is a clear-cut picture of anatomy described in Ayurveda. So that is here I represented in a schematic diagram. So these are the different peshis they are described. So the number of peshis also reflects the mukhas or openings in the total uterine cavity. You can see here one uterine opening here at Bahya Apatyapada, and one more Abhyantara Apatyapada, and on the base of the uterine cavity you can see the Artava Paveshinyaha, where two muscles are there, right and left, thus 2 plus 2, 4. And here Shukra Praveshinyaha, two muscles are there, thus total 6 in the uterine cavity. And whereas in the Apatyapada, you can see two species at Bahya Apatyapada and two species in the Abhyantara Apatyapada. So thus the total genital tract containing uh, 13 species. So the other one is one in each Bijasha and one in Bhaga, thus 3 more. So thus totaling 13 species in the total genitalia. Here the significance is not the species but the mukhas or openings in the uterine cavity as we see in the modern anatomy. So thus this total schematic diagram is almost very much similar to the anatomy available in modern text. So that is one aspect. The other aspect is Travarta Yoni. Avarta here I always consider into Chaurasia's anatomy because he has described anatomy of genital organs at 3 levels or 3 circles or 3 zones. So similarly, this word Travarta Yoni also reflects the same. Say Bahyavarta or Pradhamavarta you can say, and Dvitiyavarta wherein you can expect inner one third of the Apatyapada, including the Garbha Chidra, which is opening into the upper one third of the Apatyapada. And similarly, the third Avarta, wherein the Garbhashaya is located. And not only the Garbhashaya, along with it, the Atavaha Srotas as well as the Bijashaya. So thus, the inner circle of the genitals, including Bijashaya, Atava Srotas, and the Garbhashaya, uterine cavity, or you can say either uterine corpus or the uterine body. But this is reflected in the description of Yadarohita Machesya Mukham Bhavati. Here, Mukham is Garbhashaya Mukham, and Tat Samsthanam. Samsthanam here is the total body or the corpus or the including the uterine cavity. So thus we can see the total absolute anatomy of modern science in these two stanzas. So that is one aspect, and this is going to be helpful in deciding the uterine prolapse or Dustita Yoni in downward direction into various gradings. So how it can be graded, let us see in the next slides. Next, please. So here you can see that understanding. The seat of Garbhashaya is in the Tritiya Avarta, or third circle or zone of the Yoniashaya, that is genital tract. This part is adjacent or amidst Pittashaya and Mutrashaya and Pakvashaya. We know it is seated among these other two ashayas. And again, it is covered by a blanket-like structure called as Jarayu to retain its position as well as protection. So usually here the Jarayu is described by only the Kashyapa, not other Samhitas. So usually we consider Jarayu as the amniotic membranes. So Jarayana Mukhe Channe was the context. But in Kashyapa Samhita, he has clearly described Jarayu as the covering layer of all these ashayas. So thus we can understand the peritoneal fold, so which is covering the genitals like a blanket. So therefore, thus this peritoneal fold is protecting the all these three ashayas, particularly the internal circle genitalia, that is uterus, as well as the tube and bijashaya, and it is not only keeping it in position but also it is protecting it. So thus this word of Jarayu can be understood at this juncture. So therefore any changes in this organization of anatomy is called as Dusthita Yoni or genital displacement. Next please. So now, after going to this uh, genital anatomy in brief as described in Ayurveda, so we can go for the exact pathological aspect of the uterine prolapse or Dusthita Yoni in downward direction. So why I am stressing on downward direction? Because uterine prolapse is one among the different displacements of genital organs. So that is why I'm stressing on this downward displacement of the uterus bar dusthita yoni. Next, please. Yeah. So whenever we are going for a Rug Vinishayam or diagnosis of any disease, so we go through in a Panchalakshana Nidana aspects. So in that one, usually we come across the etiological aspects in the beginning. So what we call is Vyadhi Hetu. So here the Dusthita Yoni is the Vyadhi and the different factors causing this Vyadhi, it can be called here as under Vyadhi Hetu. So usually we, when study the Yoni Vyapas, we commonly read about Vidyacharena Tastrenam Pradishtena Arthavena Cha Jayante Bija Doshach Daivascha Srunuta Pradak. That are the four main factors. So each and every factor may again may be subdivided into several other factors. So thus I have elaborated those four factors in the following way. For the first one is Bija Dishti. So under Bija Dishti also we can go through its Bija Bhaga, Bhaga Avayava, Avayava Ekadesham, and Ekadesham again Pravibhagas. So like that we can begin with the total Bija until the genome and the sites on the genome or chromosomal ladder. So thus uh, anything, any defect under any site of this chromosomes may precipitate or may lead to some defective aspect of the displacements also, particularly the uterine prolapse. Similarly, Vyapanna Garbhavakranti. Say Garbhavakranti, differentiation of the fetus during intrauterine life. So usually we come across Shed Bhavas and Panchabhautika Bhavas for differentiation of the Garbha or the embryological aspects. So if you go through deeper and deeper, there the Shed Bhavas are concised into four bhavas only. And similarly, the Pancha Bhautika Bhavas are concised into four bhavas because Akasha is always there in and out, hence it is left while describing the embryological human anatomy. Similarly, under Shadbhavas also two factors enter into the other bhavas. So for example, here Shadbhavas, Matru, Pitru, Rasa, Satmya, Sattva and Atma. So without Manas, the existence of Atma is not considerable. Hence, the Atma is included in the Sattva or Manas. Similarly, the without rasa dhatu, there will not be any description or details of the satmya. So thus satmya also can be included under the rasa. Thus the six garbhavridika ras bhavas became the chatur bhavas. So thus the panchaka bhautika bhavas, leaving the akasha, becomes four, and the shat bhavas becoming four. So each and every chatur bhavas, with each and every bhautika bhavas, thus 4 into 4 becomes dasha shetcha, means 16 garbhavriddhikara bhavas. Because why I'm saying all this? Because for the formation of female genitalia, the matru bhavas are definitely essential, but these matrubhavas are again with all the rest of four bhautika bhavas, and these are fetched or nourished by ultimately the rasa bhavas. What type of rasa bhavas? Satmya rasa bhavas. Satmya here for what? The matru bhavas. So thus even the rasa bhavas carrying the bhautika bhavas should be so satmya to differentiate the genital organs into the respective parts. Therefore, if any defect in these bhavas may precipitate the kshinata of those particular genital organs and may even result into the downward displacement. That is why sometimes we call such abnormality as the congenital anomaly, say congenital uterine prolapse. So thus, before getting conception and even during the early pregnancy, the rasa bhavas comprising all the bhautika bhavas are very, very essential even to maintain the normal structure of the genitalia and not to result into the dusthita yoni or uterine prolapse. And next is Garbhini Vimananam. So we know all very well that manas is the prime part in Dauhrudi Mananam, or protecting the or fulfilling the desires of the pregnant woman. We also accept that the desires expressed by the mother could be the desires of the fetus also. So during that phase, if we ignore the desires of the mother, we are also ignoring the desires of the baby. So when the baby is ignored, and there will be manasika abhigata not only to the mother but also to the fetus. So this abhigata or manasa abhigata may also reflect on the differentiation of the organs or influence the macro organogenesis related to female genital organs. So therefore, Garbhini or Dauhridi Mananam or Avimananam is also very, very essential. So these are the things particularly related to intrauterine life. And coming to the next point and very important point is Dushprajata. So Dushprajata, when we call a Dushprajata, so when a woman with history of Bahujata, so so plural number of pregnancies and also plural pregnancy, say multiple pregnancy or multiparity, we can understood with these words. And similarly, when the woman was in labor, if it is a prolonged one, or when the mother is, particularly when the mother is under distress, what we call maternal distress. So, which can be understood in terms of vilambita prasava. So then it could be because of modagarbha. So there will be a vilambita prasava, there will be a maternal distress. Maternal distress insequentially may also result into the fetal distress, and due to the fetal distress there will be less oxygenation. Because of the less oxygenation, it could influence the nervous brain and nervous system of the fetus, and later it could influence the genital organs and its functionary, and not only the functionary but also the structure of the genitalia. And similarly, Sutika Dushparicharya, we are supposed to offer a good Sutika Paricharya. If not, it will result into a Dushprajata or purpureal sepsis. The purpureal sepsis may lead to the sepsis of the genital organs, and particularly the uterus. So any chronic sepsis in future may lead to pelvic inflammatory conditions or rakta vidrati, which is also a complication of and part and parcel of the Sutika rogas. So these conditions in turn may lead to the Dustita Yoni. So that was the understanding. And not only that, because of the Dushprajata, there is every possibility for the Garbhini Vata. So we all know very well the architecture of the genitalia is maintained by the Vayu. So therefore, any Vayu Vikruti definitely displays the architecture of the genitalia, and particularly wherein further influenced by the gravitational force, the uterus may come down or displaced or prolapsed or nisrita yoni or sramsa yoni. So thus this simple single Dushprajata word can reflect so many dimensions of the pathology of the Shroni or pelvis or pelvic genital organs of the female. So next is Nidanardhakaratva. So what certain conditions causing or influencing the genital organs to displace? What could be the causes? So all those causes that exert pressure on the pelvic organs, female pelvic organs. So in gist, we can say the factors that causing garbhotpidana. Say garbha, here you can understand not the fetus, nor even the uterus, but also the kukshi. So therefore, all the pathological aspects of pressure inducing, such as gulma, arbudas, kanda, or even udara vyadis, and similarly during the pregnancy, bahvapatyata, say plural pregnancy or multiple pregnancy, and even this taulya. So these are different factors influencing the pressure in the abdomen, and thus it also exert pressure on the lower abdomen, that is Shroni or pelvis, and causing the pelvic organs to prolapse down or nisrita. So sramsa we can understand, because we can remember here the functions of the Vayu also. Samsa, Vyasa, Vedas, Svapa, like that it goes. We can deal in the future slides. Then Vishesha Artava Dhatu and its immediate Purva Dhatu Kshaya. So here I am also considering the Artava Dhatu and its Vyavastha in female body, because Artava Dhatu is the dhatu that maintain the structure and function of the female genital organs. So therefore, any Artava Dhatu Kshaya may also lead to the structural defect of the genital organs, in turn may precipitate the displacements. And here I would like to give a mirror of understanding the dhatu parinama, because artavakshaya can be precipitated because of the purvi dhatu kshayas. So mostly the majja dhatu kshaya. So we all know very well majja dhatu is a conglomeration of not only its purvi dhatus such as medas, asti, rakta, mamsa, and even the rasa dhatu. So without these dhatus, because we know all the uttara dhatu is derived from the purvi dhatus, and even scientifically, if you analyze majja dhatu, you can find all the aforesaid dhatus. Without those dhatus, we never expect the existence of majja dhatu. And the recent studies on majja dhatu and its transplantation or bone marrow transplantation, we can understand the variations in the one is the testosterone, the other is the female hormone, that is estrogens and progesterones. So thus there is a close relation in between the hormonal status of the female, say let us call arthavadhatu only, and its vriddhi or kshaya may also influence the status of the architecture of the female genital organs. So my request, next slides please. Next slide please. Yeah, here you can go through few more factors of uterine prolapse. So here I am simply saying dhatu kshaya. So that dhatu kshaya could be rasa dhatu kshaya or rakta dhatu kshaya or mamsa dhatu kshaya. So I have mentioned just now all the purvi dhatus for artva kshaya. So not only the purvi dhatus in the chain events, exclusive rasa rakta mamsa dhatu kshayas, say myopathies related to mamsa dhatu may reflect or influence on the synthesis of mamsa dhatu of the uterus and its adnexal parts, say ligaments and other fascia also. And similarly, the rakta dhatu. So rakta dhatu is always there in the mamsa dhatu to replenish the mamsa as well as to maintain the structure. And both of these are, however, has to be nourished with the rasa dhatu through different artavaha dhamanis. So therefore, any defect in these or any kshayatva in these dhatus, so definitely lead to kshayatva of the all peshi, snayu, kandara of the genital organs, and either it could be during the intrauterine life or could be extrauterine life, and making the female genital structure vulnerable for displacements. And next, anagata vega udirana. such as pravahana. So it could be mala, related to mala or mutra, and even during the prasava kala, the untimely pravahanam also may cause the uterine prolapse. So that is why I am saying anagata, agata, anagata, vega, udirana. So bearing down efforts during untimely. So then anachara vyavaya. So achara vyavaya. So usually we consider as under word Brahma, Grihastha Brahmacharya. So anachara vyavaya usually is sex abuse. So it could be ayonigamanam. So it could be apadravya sevanam as we come across in our treatises, and it could be pravruddhalingam, unmatched sex, and purushas atirichyate, wild or violent sex, and also you can consider this as under sex abuse. So thus anachara vyavaya is also can be considered as a cause for the uterine prolapse. And then Vishama Sthiti, particularly related to the sitting postures or gait, and even the walking. So walking on irregular surfaces sometimes lead to falling and other things, influencing the structure of the Shroni as well as its structures like that. And similarly, Vyayama also, and which is very important. Which type of Vyayama? Vyayama of Atisahasa. Say Atisahasa type of Vyayama usually we see in the Raja Yakshma. So which is also a status of Dhatu Kshaya. So therefore, Ati Sahasa Kruta Vyayama also directly acting as a mechanical effect on the abdomen and indirectly influencing the dhatu parinama or the metabolism, thus resulting the kshinata or kshamata of the genital organs and its architecture. And similarly, you can also consider the Vishama Asana. So Vishama Asana, because of Vishama Asana, mostly there could be Rasashesha Ajirna, again Rasashesha Ajirna may result into Ajirna, and Ajirna again influences the Dhatu Kshaya. And next is Panchakarma Chikitsa Vyapats. So where there is Ati Yoga of the Nasya Karma or even Virechana and Vasti Karma. So definitely there is every possibility for dislodgement of the genital organs because of the changed mechanical efforts on the abdomen. Or sometimes with Vasti Karma there could be directly or indirect injuries also because of the Vasti Netra Vyapas. So like that you can consider these things also. And next, all these above mentioned factors may precipitate the Vata Vikruti, or in just we may call the Midyahara Vihara, or simply as described under Yoni Vyapat Midhyachara. So which means the nutritional and eco-biological defects such as even the catastrophe of the universe, leading to Sramsa Vyasadi Vatakarya Avalakshana. Next slide, please. Yeah. So from this Hetu, here I'm directly going into the Samprapti because Samprapti in gist is a detailed study of the total disease or genesis of the disease or pathogenesis. So as told earlier in the introduction part of this presentation, Dusthita Yoni is an anatomical or structural deviation of the genital tract due to various reasons. As an outcome of vitiated vayu by the said reasons, the structural features such as Sramsa, Vyasa, Bhanga, Varta shall take place in the yoni, resulting into different types of yoni brahmsha or Dusthita yoni. So here yoni brahmsha is not a translation but a borrowed word from the Vyapats of Dushprajata or Sutka Roga. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello. Hello.
My slides have gone.
Sir, 1 minute, please. Some technical issues. 1 minute, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
So can we see?
But it is only a small format.
Sir, this I'm using now mobile. Some issues with my this thing electricity current. So whether it is possible, sir, to you to read this?
Readability is not there.
Oh, okay. Let me try some.
The power at
So,
your place, power problem at your place.
some repair work is going on, sir. So usually don't
Okay.
happen, doesn't happen. Usually doesn't happen, but today only. Uh, so now it is whether it is readable for you.
There is a vast difficulty. I will one
Okay,
or the other way. We have to complete now.
okay. I'll share with somebody else also, sir. Uh, uh, you can uh, you can read from your
I
this
am
thing
unable
system.
to control anything.
Okay, so you can present your screen if PPT is with you, or else
Yeah, I
I'll
can present,
try.
but we cannot share.
Okay, okay. Let me. So wait 1 minute. I'll do something. Wait,
So
sir, please.
I am presenting with my information. Shall
Yes,
I
yes, sir.
continue?
Yes, sir. Sure, sir. Yes, sir. You can continue, sir.
Yeah. So we know the reference from the Ashtanga Hridaya, Samsavyasa Vedaswapa Sadharuktoda Bedanam, Sanganga Banga Sankocha, Varta Harshan Tarsham. So this was a reference where from I have applied this and applied to the Samsa uh, in relation with the Dusthita Yoni, and which is also used in terms of Srasta or Prasramsani or simply uh, Mahayoni. So Mahayoni indicating Vistara or Vyasa. So like that I have applied this particular stanza of Vata functions and instead of borrowing or what we say the plagiarism. So instead of going for a plagiarism totally from the modern side, I have tried to adapt. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Audible, sir.
Am I audible? Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Audible.
So yeah. So instead of adopting plagiarism from the modern texts in related with the uterine prolapse, I am to the extent of possibility applying whatever information available with our science, because ultimately we are supposed to treat the patient as per the principles of Ayurveda. Say, Rogamado Pradiksheta Tadanantaram Aushadam. That was our basic principle. Therefore, I am trying to apply all the scattered information related to anatomy, related to the Panchalakshana Nidana of this Yoni Vyapats in general and the Dustita Yoni in particular, because even the Dustita Yoni is also not directly mentioned in the Yoni Vyapat, but while describing the treatments, Charaka specially mentioned the Srasta, Prasrasta types of Yoni Vyapats during the treatment of Mahayoni. So thus, I made into differentiation even among these three, Mahayoni, Srasta Yoni and Prasrasta Yoni. So based on the information available in the other treatise, that is the Sushruta Samhita. So these are the basic references. Garbhashayascha, Yonischa. You see, the people never leave Yoni alone or Garbhashaya alone. Sometimes where it is significant, they mention both the words. So usually what we understand, the Yoni word itself is reflecting the total genital tract. But as per the significance related to Garbhashaya, here at this context, Garbhashayasya Yonyascha is clearly mentioned. So therefore, we have to consider both the uh, context at a time and review back the Mukam Vishtambayest Striyaha. So which Mukham? So both the Mukham of Garbhashaya as well as Yoni Mukha. So Garbhashaya Mukha as well as Yoni Mukha. So as we studied earlier, so there are mukhas at two levels in apatyapada. Yoni, let us take it granted as only apatyapada here because Garbhashaya is mentioned. So apatyapada bahya and abhyantara mukha you can consider here, review back here. Similarly, Garbhashayasya mukha, and you can think of the Artava Praveshinyaha right and left as well as the Shukra Praveshinyaha, the lower one. So thus the different mukhas may become asamvrita or dilated. But here the prolapse is possible or the displacement is possible only in the downward way because of the gravitation force. So therefore, the description is mostly related to the downward displacement. And not only that, in the later slides you can see, so here it is related not only to the yoni but also the bhaga part. Because you can describe the word Mahayoni or Vistara Yoni or Vistrita Yoni only with the Bhaga part. You cannot see the internal parts. So you cannot see even the Garbha Chidra part also. So thus, here with the word Garbhashaya as well as Yoni, you can also consider the Bhaga part or the vulva part. So thus you can see here, you are considering here the bhaga, the part of genitals of Bhahyavarta or Pradhamavarta, the yoni or Apatyapada, the Madhyamavarta or Dvitiyavarta, including the visible part of the Garbhashya, that is the Garbha Chidra. And you can imagine the Garbhashaya also because ultimate part is to come down is Garbhashaya. So thus this total anatomy also reflecting in the pathogenesis or samprapti of this disease. So what you can see later is, so here certain associate lakshanas are there along with the anatomical lakshana, that is mamsotpanna mahayonihi parva vankshana shulini. Here parva vankshana shulini associated feature and ruksha fenasrava vahini. So like these are associated clinical features in addition to the anatomical features. Next, And when you go through the anatomical features, and again we can describe it as under Travarta Yoni. So our anatomy, as said earlier and just now, we are dividing the anatomy into three levels or three zones or avartas or circles. So based upon this anatomy. So therefore, particularly the dislodging part is always Garbhashaya because the upper part is coming downwards. So that is the Pratyatma Niyata Lakshana for this Dustita Yoni Vyapat. So therefore, as per the grading of any disease, here this Dustita Yoni also can be graded into Avara, Madhyama and Pravara, or you can say grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, or mild, moderate and severe, and even minor, moderate and major. So thus you can understand here these grades into when Garbhashaya first Avara Dusita Yoni. So when the prolapse is in mild status. This Garbhashaya or in the Tritiyavata becomes Nisrita or dislodged into the Dvitiyavarta, that is at and below the level of native Garbhachidra, or usually which lies in between the uh, pelvic spine or ischial spines and makes the yoni mukha to gap, which clinical condition shall be called as Mahayoni. So because of the widening of the vulva, so or yoni mukha, so usually it becomes Vistara or Vyasa. So hence called as Mahayoni. So whereas in the second grade or Madhyama, this Garbhashaya now large at Dvitiyavarta if becomes further Nisrita into the Pradhamavarta, that is at the level of Yoni Mukha, and makes the Garbhachidra directly visualized to naked eyes of examiner, which clinical condition shall be called as Srasta Yoni Vyapat. And whereas in the third grade, that is Pravara, the Garbhashaya now large at Pradhamavarta, if becomes further Nisrita or moved downwards and suspended out of the Yonimukha, similar to a fruit hanging from the stem of a tree, shall be called as Prasrasta Yoni or Falini or Andali. So here you can find the difference between Srasta and Prasrasta. So Charaka has given both these words, Srasta as well as Prasrasta, while describing the treatments. So pra definitely indicates Vishesha. So Vishesha over the Srasta phase. So hence it is Prasrasta. So thus it is demarking the further deterioration of the displacement or prolapse. So wherein you can say, and it is also given a upamana, and not only upamana, we all know the garbhasha is also called as phala. So therefore, when it is visible, so it is said as falini. And this phala also called as anda or andashaya. So therefore, as it is coming and visible out, so we are calling it as andali. And not only this, these mushkas are also called as anda. So with that sense, in male, so they hang from the skin, so either human being or any animal. So thus the word Andali is given by the Bhava Prakash. So this indicates most exterior or almost out of the genital tract. So thus the severity of the Dusthita Yoni can be described. And this is the slide borrowed and what described in modern gynecology. So this is the normal one. So later divided into 1, 2, 3, and Falini or Prosidentia is said as under 4. So in the earlier books, it is also said only as under third. So the further deteriorated condition of the third grade uterine prolapse is said to be Prosidentia. So wherein the total uterus, that means total uterus here means the fundus or the body of the uterus is coming out by inversion of the apatyapada or the vaginal walls. And you can see here these uterine displacements are not only the downwards but also it indicating the other dimension also. So that is reflected in this stanza like this. Vakratyananam yonya sast mamsanila artibihi anilartibihi brishartir maitanasa hishnuta yoni antar mukha mata. So here the other type of displacement antarmukhi word is here used, and similarly udavartini also with different hetu and different altered function also. Thus udavartini reflects in two ways. So one is the anterior displacement of the uterus is one thing. The other is retrograde dysfunction of the rajas or its artava dhara kala or endometrium. So which also reflects the functional altered status, that is endometriosis or adenomyosis. So wherein all the lakshanas we can find in the udavartini. So like that we find antarmukhi and udavartini as vakrata of the genitalia, so which can be focused in this acute antiflexion or retroflexions. And here along with the anatomical changed architecture, you can see the associated clinical symptoms in particular. So that is one is vivrutaseta, the gapping in between the major and minor is increased. We can call it as vivrutaseta or vivrutamukha. And then Prishtavanshana Kati Uru Shula, you can see Maithuna Sahishnuta, and even later associated with Shunangata. And then Kashtartava if menstruation is continuing, and Ruksha Alpa Alpa Fenala Yonisrava may be associated, and Anapatyata in case of fetal age, and this could be in association with Yoni Kanda, Yoni Arbuda, or Yoni Gurma, Rakta Gulma, and ultimately when this C is there, usually call it as Garbhashelyam. And when there is, you can also consider here the Malabandha and Mutra dosha. I am simply saying instead of Mutra bandha, I am saying Mutra dosha because there could be acute obstruction or stress incontinence also. So thus you can find these associated features in uterine prolapse or Dusthita Yoni Vyapas, and these lakshanas are all there during the descriptions of Vatala Yoni Vyapat, because uterine prolapse or Dusthita Yoni is one among the Vatala Yoni Vyapat, and while describing other Yoni Vyapat, he has clearly mentioned that every Vataja Yoni Vyapat is in association with the Vatala type of Yoni Vyapat. So therefore, whatever descriptions related to Vata Prakopa in Vatala Yoni Vyapat can be described along with the, and they are equally true as per these described features in association with the Dustita Yoni Vyapat. And this thus there is a vast understanding of this type of Yoni Vyapat. You may call now Mahayoni Vyapat, you can call Srasta Yoni Vyapat, you can call Prasrasta Yoni Vyapat. But here I would like to remember you that there is a difference between a Prasramsini Yoni Vyapat and Phalini Yoni Vyapat as described in Susruta Samhita. Because the Prasramsini Yoni Vyapat is said as under Pittaja Yoni Vyapat. So there the understanding was Prasramsayet Chavate Sendate. That was the description given by commentators. So there Pitta Shamana is the only line of treatment. Whereas while describing the treatment even in Susruta Samhita, he has described, though it is a Pittaja Yoni Vyapat, the treatment is said as if it is a Vataja Yoni Vyapat and there is a Sramsa Lakshana. So thus this word Sramsa reflecting both Pitta as well as Vata Lakshanas, one is related to abnormal discharges in association with the Sramsa Lakshana of the Yoni, that is structural deformity or structural downward displacement. Whereas the other understanding is similar to the Charaka as Srasta. So there he has also mentioned the Phalini Yoni Vyapat in addition to the Prasramsini of Pittaja Yoni Vyapat. So Phalini is described under Vataja Yoni Vyapat. So thus we can understand the different status of this Garbhashaya, and that is why we are also accepting one is in terms of Vyadhi Samprapti or severity of the Samprapti or prognosis. The other is changed architecture of the genitalia. So we are calling basically the Mahati or Mahayoni, and the other is Sramsa, Prasramsa or Prasrasta, and of course the third degree, or you may call it as a fourth degree as Phalini or Andini. So based upon this functional alteration as well as architectural alteration, you are supposed to adopt the treatment, because we said as per the Roga Nidana, Roga Samprapti, the treatment has to be undertaken, because we have several types of treatments described, but subject to the condition or degree or prognosis of the disease, you have to select the procedure. However, this uterine downward displacement or Dustita Yoni Vyapat is considered as under Vataja Yoni Vyapat. Vataja Yoni Vyapat. Therefore, whatever treatment we adopt, usually in the lines are in the sutra of Vata or Chikitsa. So that is why there will be a common Chikitsa sutra in Charaka Samhita. Snigdasvinnam tadayonim dustitam stapayet punaha. So ultimately, the treatment for any dustita yoni vyapat is punastapanam. That is the fundamental principle. Whatever direction the displacement taken place, punastapanam is the line of treatment. That is one. And how it can be made punastapanam. So here the descriptions are related to maneuvers. So hastena, that is described here, because sometimes as this is a palliative procedure but described for Susruta Sampradaya, we may take this as under Susrutas, though described by the Charaka Samhita, described in Charaka Samhita, because Hastam is the Pradhanayanta. So that is reflected in the second stanza. Panina namaye jimmam samvrutam vardhayet punaha. Praveshayen nisrutam cha. So I have repeatedly used the word nisrita during describing the degree of the prolapse. So I have borrowed the word nisrita from here. So praveshe nisrita. You see, nisrita, the word pravesha here you can understand, and nisrita automatically giving the index of downward displacement. We can make praveshana only for those downward displacement. That was my understanding. So similarly, vivrutam parivartet. Here dilated aspect can be make into samvruta. You can make opposite word vivruta. Here vivruta can be made into samvruta. So here this parivartayet could be understood in samvrutikarana or any means. So any means that occludes or decrease the mukha, yoni mukha into desired size. So that word parivarta indicates. And then when we are making a repair, I can understand here is when we are undertaking a repair, so it should be parivartayet to the native size of that mukha of yoni at various levels. So here our level is always at bhagamukha, or usually said here as yoni mukha. So yoni sthanapavruttahi. So here it is clearly mentioned. So apavrutta yoni. So here is altered size of the yoni mukha. You can understand. So if it is left, so you can call it as a shalya bhuta. So it is now as a foreign body because it is beyond the genital architecture. So therefore anything came out of the genital tract definitely act as a foreign body till it is repositioned or eliminated totally. So that can be understood in the next slides. So these are different palliative methods described in Charaka Samhita.
Excuse me, sir.
Trivritam Snehanam Sir.
Excuse me, sir.
Hello. Yeah.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, whether the screen was visible for the last 2-3 slides? Screens were visible, sir?
No,
Whether
I'm
screens
not.
were
I'm using my
visible?
own.
Okay, okay,
No.
sir. Okay, sir, fine.
Can you?
Okay, sir. Okay, carry on.
Be able
Carry on,
to?
sir. Carry on. Carry on, sir.
Okay. So here you can see the description of Chiraka Chikitsa Taivutam Snehanam Svedo Gramyanupaudaka Rasa Dashmula. So this is from Charaka Chikitsa wherein he has utilized the Trivruta Sneha. So with this word Trivruta Sneha, different people understand differently, but here I'm using this Trivrutam as under say Tilataila, Gruta as well as Vasa also, because while describing the treatments he has given the Vasa of Varaha and Ruksha or so Varaha Vasa was utilized. So with that cross reference, so Trivruta Sneha is understood as a mix or a merge of Vasa, Taila and Gruta. Because later he has given other formulas of Taila as well as the Gruta also. And the other part of this stanza gives all the Vatahara, Chikitsa, and ultimately this all description is ended like this. Etateva Mahayonyam Srastayam cha vidhiyate. You see, he has differentiated the Mahayoni from the Srasta in the Charaka Samhita. The Charaka himself differentiated Mahayoni from Srasta Yoni. And he also described differently the Prasrasta Yoni from the Srasta Srastha Yoni also. So that is why I have graded the Mahayoni, Srastha and Prasrastha into various degrees. So you can see here the treatment of Taivrita Seha. Vasaruksha Varahanam Grutamcha Madurai Madurai Sritam Purayitva Mahayonim Bradniyat Kshauma Laktakai. So this was the described treatment for Mahayoni, but it is equally applicable even for the same Srastha and Prasrastha Yoni Vyapati. Here you can see Prasrastam, the where the Prasrastha is used. In the same Chikitsa or Yoni Vyapati Adhyaya, the previous stanza at 112, whereas at 113, Prasrastam Sarpisabhyaja. So Prasrastam Sarpisabhyaja Kshirasvinnam Praveshyacha Badniyat Veshavarasya Pinde Namutra Kalataha. So like that he has described. So you see, the Prasrastha is particularly interrelated with the last degree. So how we can understand? See, he has clearly mentioned Kshirasvinnam Praveshasya. So Praveshanam is for those conditions which are totally prolapsed or outside of the Yoni or Bhaga. So therefore, he also added Bradniyat Veshavarasya. So Veshavara is a Peshi Pinda. So Mamsa Pinda otherwise. So therefore, a Pinda is required like a pessary or a ring which can be repositioned into the genitalia. So the Prasrastha or the Bahya Garbhashaya or the Nisrita Garbhashaya, which is outside, has to be replaced inside and not to come downwards. A Mamsa Pinda has to be kept inside the Apatya Patha, and even the Pinda not to dislodge downwards. A Gofana Bandha has to be made. That was the understanding here in terms of Veshavara Bandha. So, therefore, the last degree said as under Prasrastha Yoni in the same Charaka Samhita during the description of treatment. So, here you can divide the total management as under Atreya school of thought as well as the Dhanvantari school of thought. So under Atreya school of thought, you can describe like this: Nidana Parivartanam. We have enumerated so many factors causing uterine prolapse. Therefore, treat the cause is the first line of treatment. And similarly, Panchakarma Chikitsa, though we have said Panchakarma Chikitsa Vyapat also a factor, but here Avyapana type of Panchakarma Chikitsa is also very useful, particularly in the form of Virechana. You have to take a Mrudu Virechana, and similarly Vasti Chikitsa in the form of Brahmana or Sneha Vasti Chikitsa. So like that, the word Panchakarma and Vyapana, Avyapana type has to be understood here. Similarly, Shodhagna Chikitsa, because the downward displacement resemble like a Pradeshika Shofa, therefore you can also apply a Shodhahara Chikitsa at this context. The Shodhahara Chikitsa as described in Charaka Shodha Chikitsa Adhyaya, particularly those descriptions given for Pradeshika Shodha. And then virtually you can go for Brumhana and Vardhana Chikitsa as a Sutra, Chikitsa Sutra. So Samvrite Vardhanam Punaha, that was the principle. Therefore, Vardhanam is possible by Santarpana Brahmana Chikitsa. So later, Vatala Yonivyapat type of Shamana Chikitsa, you for Vatara Chikitsa, always we adopt the Thaila and sometimes the Thailand Gruta also. So they exemplified Thailas in classics are Bala Thaila, Guduchai Thaila, Kashmiriyad Gruta, Bruhat Shetavaridi Gruta. For all these for internal use or Amaika Prayoga. And the important one is again the Sthanika Chikitsopakrama. So Upakramas are given very significant in Dhanvantara Sampradaya. However, as these are palliative methods, we can describe only under Atreya Sampradaya. So all these are meant for Punastapanam. And under this Snehabhyanga and Sweda, so for Snehanam you can use same Balataila which is used for internal. You can go for Guru Chaitaila, you can go for even the Saindava Taila or any Vatahara Tailas you can go for. And similarly Sweda you can use number of Sweda types and particularly Kumbhi Sweda or Nadi Sweda are very much useful, and for that the Drava used to be better Vatar Kashayas like Dashamula Kashayas, and even you can use the Mamsa Rasas, particularly Anupa Desha Mamsa. And similarly, you can adopt, as I said earlier, Veshavara Pinda in associated with Gofana Bandha. And similarly, you can go for Tailavaga Snanam or Sijbat with Taila. And Taila Puranam, filling the vaginal canal with Tailam and retaining there. And similarly, you can go for different Lepanas to make the vaginal canal stiff or what we call is Gadhikarana, and then Tarpanam you can go for, then Kalkar Pichudharana, so any medicated Kalkas or any medicated Tailas uh, dipped with cloth or gauze cloth can be retained inside the vaginal canal over the time of next Mutra Vega Kala. So similarly, Uttarbasti with Vadhara Tailas can be used, and Parivartana again here maneuver, and you may try after giving this Abhyanga and Sweda externally, and with suppositories you can try for a Parivartanam or changing the positions, or sometimes even by adopting certain yoga type of postures, reverse postures, you can try for this parivartana upakrama. And similarly, whatever you adopt, bandhanam is very important to make it retain. So this bandhanam can be done by this Veshavara Bandha or even adopting like in modern practices in the name of pesaries or rings. And above all or along with all the above, you have to give importance for this sthanika vyayama or pelvic exercises, or it is an exercise resembling a Uddiyana Bandha in yoga. So, which is also called as Kegel's exercise. So, all these to improve Peshi, Snayu, Kandara, and Pratana and their Parimana, Bala, Samhanana, so as to keep the Garbhashaya in situ. And few beneficial practices for Lepana, Kokalaksha Bija with Vidari Kanda, making into a fine paste and applied into the vaginal canal. If it is a prolapsed one, you can also apply on the prolapsed part of the uterus and slowly put inside and make a Gofana Bandha by making kalka of the same and retaining into the vaginal canal. Similarly, you can use ashwagandha paste or palasha udumbara paste mixed with madhu and thaila. And similarly, Khadirasar, Spatika Bhasma and Madhu made into paste and applied on the genital tract, whatever part is visible and invisible part of the vaginal canal. And similarly, the well-known and notorious practice is Mushka Taila Pichu Dharana. And here Pichu should be a larger one. It should be so larger that it can retain the prolapsed parts in the vaginal canal, including the vaginal walls as well as the uterus. And similarly, you can also use in the form of Varti. And for Varti, Bisanala along with the flowers mashed with milk and dried, and again mashed with ghee, then dried. After making a Varti and positioned in the vaginal canal like a vaginal suppositories. And similarly, you can any above procedures should be followed by prakshalna is one thing. The other thing is it can be practiced independently to tighten the vaginal canal or the total genital tract. So the things used are karpas mula kashaya or amlaki, kalka, jalam or liquid, or you may call it as amlaki rasa, diluted amlaki rasa, and then even a simple shubra jala and vaginal wash sometimes can tighten the vaginal walls. So these are all Athreya Sampradas or palliative methods of tightening the genital tract. Whereas under Dhanvantara school of thought, so you have to think of the Vrana Shodha, Vrana Arbuda or Grandhi, which are in the genital tract, particularly in the uterine cavity or walls of the uterus, and making the uterus down with the gravitation force. Therefore, there must be a chikicha for these things to reduce or regress the Vranashofa or the Arbuda and even sometimes the Vidradi also by draining. And ultimately, whatever coming out of the genital tract is said to be a or it acts as a shalya. So it is always a painful for the one is woman in her day-to-day life is one thing. The other thing is it is obstacle for our womanhood also. So thus it is a physical problem, it is a personal mental problem, and as well as it is a social problem also. So therefore, thus it is a shalya. So any shalya should be eliminated from the body. Therefore, shalya nirharana by Shastra Pranidhan is essential as per the Dhanvantari school of thought. So, in the next slides, I am presenting plagiarism from website, how there are descriptions available. So here what I presented in gist is only an example. It is only a borrowed one. Almost these descriptions mimicking whatever I have told just now according to the scattered information available in Ayurveda. So plagiarism from website for modern cross-reference. Particularly for management, you can understood as a prevention part, as a physiotherapy part, as a physical uh, therapy part and surgical part. So whatever we described so far in Ayurveda also reflecting the same understanding. And particularly particularly for Dusprajata, వస్తాను 10 నిమిషాలు. So particularly the description as a preventive part is related to Dusprajata before the pregnancy, during the delivery, and even postnatal also, after the delivery also. So this is particularly related to the management. So that a part also I have described, particularly the unnecessary pravahana when there is no true labor pains, and above that we have to avoid the prolonged labor. So because of which there will be overstretching of the all ligaments in the genitalia, which are supporting or suspending the uterus in situ in the pelvis. So therefore that also should be avoided. And the other thing is, there must be very cautious in removal of the third stage of labor, that is placental removal. That is very, very important. And similarly, if any episiotomy is done, so or any tears in the vaginal wall observed, should be sutured promptly. So above this, the purpureal phase should be protected well. All the Sutika Paricharya should be well managed. So otherwise, what happens? There will be almost as described in Kashyapa Samhita. Almost there are 74 types of vyapats, Sutika vyapats or Sutika rogas. So among which the Yoni Brahmsha is one, and the first one. Similarly, Yoni Bhinnata is another one. Yoni Shodha is there. So thus there could be Yoni Vyapats, we can say now. So they may prolong, they may turn into chronicity. So thus resulting into the uterine prolapse into various degrees. Okay, so thus the Sutika Paricharya also plays major role to prevent the Yoni Brahmsha. So similarly, as I told earlier, the Kegels exercises are very important to strengthen the pelvic muscles as well as other ligaments, and where they cannot be strengthened or retained in time or promptly, we can take the support of pessaries or some ring-like structures to retain the uterus in situ. So definitely this is a temporary, but temporary procedure sometimes necessary, and usually during the pregnancy, where we call prolapsed gravid uterus. So under such circumstances, we can use, and where the surgery is contraindicated, there you can use, and where during purpurium also you can use till the internal muscles are strengthened. That is the principle there. So thus, as a choice of patient, those people who don't want to go for the hysterectomy, they want to postpone, there also we can use the pessaries, not only the pessaries, the other palliative management. And here again, there will be different types and sizes of pessaries based upon the laxity of the vaginal canal and degree of the uterine prolapse. And ultimately, when the Falini type of uterine prolapse or Srasta Yoni, probably the surgery is the last treatment choice. So wherein you can go for vaginal hysterectomy because already the genital part is displaced downwards, and particularly where we cannot manage this large size of uterine fibroids or uh, where and when the childbearing age is crossed. That is menopausal life. And similarly, you can advise the anterior colporrhaphy where anterior vaginal wall is prolapsed along with the uterus, or posterior colporrhaphy where the posterior vaginal wall with rectocele. The anterior is with cystocele or urethrocoele. The posterior one is with enterocele or rectocele. So there, the repair of those walls can be done. And similarly, where there is a need to complete the family or getting children, the required and suggestible surgery is Manchester repair or Fothergill's operation on the genital organs of the female. So again, you may call it as a palliative surgical intervention. Palliative surgical intervention for the cause of getting pregnancy. Or you can understand this a surgery required for a woman or young adult woman who is want of pregnancies. So thus we can conclude here with Nirharana of Garbhashalya, and uterine prolapse is a downward displacement usually during postmenopausal life, and state of Dhatukshaya is one. And as it is a structural deformity of Peshi, Snayu, Pratana, Kandara, and Jarayu of Garbhashaya, as well as surrounded Kostanga, improving their Parimana, Bala, and Samhanana are essential to restore and retain the uterus in situ. For such restructure and repair parts of Punastapana, Vatahara and Brahmana type of conservative treatments are very much useful, and where and when Punastapana uh, consider Sthanapavritta Yoni as Garbhashalya, and ultimately its Niraharana is the treatment of choice. That is, hysterectomy is the treatment of choice, where uh, the Garbhashalya acting as a mental, social, physical, and even with added infection to the shalya and complicating her to other vyapats or Vranashofa and its sequelae. So, to overcome such situations, the hysterectomy is ultimately the choice of treatment. So, this is my presentation, and I am very thankful for your patience here. A prolonged time I have taken. I hope I have contributed at least a little bit to the existing workouts or presentations, and I hope I feel happy, and I convey my sincere thanks to the organizers of the team at Jaipur of Vishwa Ayurveda Parishad, and if I have contributed anything new or a little, and interested students or faculty may come with me, see me at my this email ID or my phone number. You may collect from the organizers. And I once again thank you all for the patient hearing. And I also thank the person behind, the power behind, I like to say, is Haithal Madam. I thank you, Madam, for organizing this program. Thank you. Are you there, sir? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Uh, we are very much sorry for the technical glitch we had, and it's my sincere uh, regards the way you continued your lecture and